And I'm just waiting for it to come through on Twitch. And here we go. It's loading up. I got Twitch, I got Facebook, I got LinkedIn, I got. So I think, okay, everybody's here. Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. I want to welcome you to today's session of Institute for Higher Consciousness. It is an awesome day to be alive. And let me go ahead and turn this off, but it will tone for our time to reclaim the text. So, but otherwise, let's go ahead and turn the rest of these notifications off. All right. I'm awesome. It's an awesome day, and I'm excited to be here with each of you. This is again the first. I see you, Phoenix System 80. Come on in. This is the class session for Institute for Higher Consciousness. We are still on anchoring the core. I see you, Bishop. One reason the Bishop of Twitch is here. I'm gonna give a minute for some more of you all from Twitch to go ahead and come in. Again, once a month we have an open session that is open to the other platforms from the Institute. So that's what you all are sitting in on. For those that are not in the class and those that are not in my Discord, I see you, Shelly Thunder. Thank you so much for coming in. So this will be, again, that time for the other platforms to be able to sit in on one of the classes that we offer. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And as people come in, I'm gonna ask the moderators if you all would just greet everybody. I'm not gonna stop and speak to everyone because I definitely want to get the time for the class. I want to engage you all as much as I can on today. Feel free to talk to me. Feel free to speak and share in all the chats on all the platforms. So you're welcome to share. It's only the students that have the ability to actually talk in the class as far as taking yourself off mute and speaking. But again, everybody's welcome to share. All right. SK8843, I see you guys. Listen, before I go further, let me stop right here. I know I said I wasn't going to call everybody out. Today is SK8843's birthday. This is my sister, Sheila Stillman. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and start using your name as you have changed it. This is my sister, Sheila Stillman, and today is her birthday. And so we're just going to wish her a happy birthday before we get started today. And I'll be celebrating you on Monday in the stream. I meant to do it yesterday, but I got to going and got to moving and messed around and forgot to give you your birthday wishes. But I'm going to get it in. I will absolutely positively get it in. But today is the day, and today is her birthday. And so we just want to wish you, SK8843, all the love, all the peace, joy, and happiness. And listen, I'm just decreeing and declaring that this is a year that you are going to flow and you are undamned. I promise you, you are undamned. And I love me some you. Now, let's go ahead and get back to the session on today. And I want to let me know. I hope that we're going to get this in a state where everybody can see everything. So, do you all see life force of majestic nature? Can everybody see that before I get to going? I hope that I got that situation corrected from last week. Let me know if you can see that screen.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
can see it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. So we're going to do a little bit of recap. And so from that standpoint, I'm going to go real quickly on the recap because I know last week you all were unable to see the screen. So today, here we go. And I've got some other updated that I wanted to share. So I'm going to go back and catch a little bit of that as well. Life force, or the majestic nature. That's what water is. And we've been talking about flow. You know, I've been saying over and over again, if you ask me, I'm going to tell you my religion is flow. Flow of a current. And if we look at things that are fluid, we understand water is fluid. We also understand that air is fluid, or the wind, whatever you want to call it, wind or air. It is also fluid. You begin to identify plasma as a form of a fluid. It's a special kind of fluid, but it is fluid. And so as we look at the wind and the air and identify we're encouraging everybody to become fluid in the way that you live, fluid in the way that you walk, fluid in the way that you talk and operate. We understand water as the power of this majestic life force that we have. And we said again, from the foundation of the world, water was here. Even for those that believe in the afterlife and the great beyond, if you look in and take that from the passages of scripture, you see a river of life flowing out from the throne of God for those that follow the Christian tradition. And so I say from the beginning throughout and even throughout eternity, we always find the presence of water. Why? Because it is that life force that is so majestically provided to us in this environment. The power of water to cleanse, the power of water to give life to all living. Even when you're in that sack, what are you surrounded by? Water. The soul, feelings, and vibrations have an effect on the formation of ice crystals. I'm going back again. We're talking about from Masaru Emoto, the book that we are coming from, The Hidden Messages in Water. The Hidden Messages in Water. If you need to go out and get that book, please do it. But this is the premise and the foundation of the talk. The teaching that we're doing right now is coming from that book. And so it's coming from that perspective. Again, he took water, crystallized it, looked at those crystals under powerful microscopes, and was able to identify what was going on with those crystals in a positive word, positive energy being spoken over it. We see beautiful crystals being formulated. Then when we see the negative, harsh types of words, we see the crystals having different types of deformities to it. And then last but certainly not least, as the experiment shows, when there's absolutely no contact with that water at all, those crystals are completely emaciated. So understanding those three perspectives as we're talking about people coming into the flow, and you'll hear us say very often from the Institute of Higher Consciousness, undam yourselves, because you are a river of life. That's the way you should be, in a flow. Your life should be that constant fluidity that can go in. Oh, and gas. I forgot gas as well. Gas is also fluid. Whether it's that ability like water to find creeks and cracks and crevices and creep in, or whether it's the ability of like gas to just seep through what would seem to be a solid area, but still finds the ability as a gas to get into a room and permeate and saturate that room with the doors shut, with the walls there and the ceiling and everything, because gas, the fluidity of gas, has that ability to go past those different barriers and membranes. So again, we're encouraging us to become undammed. Until I'm undammed, you will be damned. And so understand undammed, UNDAMMED, as a river of life. We're encouraging you, undam yourself. And until you are undammed, you will be damned. So we look at it, and the soul, the feelings, the vibrations, all of these things that we encounter have an impact on how those crystals or how that water or how that life manifests in your world. Understand the importance of the soul and words. So again, we're coming from a spiritual perspective that is drawn from a natural experiment that was done in a laboratory, in a controlled environment with very high powered microscopes. Understanding that the soul, and so you, the very essence of you, the power of your words. Listen, even if we take from the idea, you create the fruit of your lips. You create, if you go through psychology, when I was taking my classes for counseling, if you go through the classes, one of the things that you'll begin to identify, they'll talk about a self-fulfilling prophecy. Many of you have probably heard about that. Self-fulfilling prophecies. What you speak over yourself and what you speak about yourself, it begins to manifest. Why? Because there's power in your words. A single drop of water can have various rippling effects on a single person. And it can ripple itself out and just become very, very huge. Just one drop. And that's why, as we talk about becoming undamned, I want you to be very, very conscientious about the words that you speak, especially over yourselves. I said this several months ago, and I've been echoing it since, even to the extent of stop, even if you're saying, I'm just joking. Stop speaking negativity over yourself, even in what you're calling a joke, because at the end of the day, that single drop can have a ripple effect that you will be reeling and rocking, trying to recover from, because your words have power. The energy of our consciousness in words can change the things that we can actually see with our eyes. And again, all of this is coming from the perspective of the experiment that Brother Emoto, Dr. Emoto, did on these water drops in crystallization. Now, connection to human soul. The water is permanently linked to our souls. We come out of water. And a lot of times when you talk about even the African experience, and a lot of times when they deal with slavery and what happened and how they say many times we were birthed out of the water, not only from the motherland, but even from the boats that brought us here. And then even many times it was like that birthing out of water. And again, to reflect back even to the idea, 9 months before you got here, you were floating in water. As we look at, and it says, look, initially you were predominantly 99% water. And then as you developed and as you were birthed and as you grew, you became 75% water. And then as you go and grow and age, then you will reduce back to like 50% water. But listen, you are permanently linked to the water. Key to the mysteries of the universe come from water, because water's always been. Water has been here from the foundation. Water will be here after the foundations have ended, if you believe in that concept. So again, with this idea, water carrying these messages. And this is what we see from the crystals and the crystals' reactions to not only the spoken word, but also the written word and or just energies. So understand that, and we talked about energy, and we'll get back to that again. But the mysteries of the universe, because water has always been here. And the one thing that always happens, there's water that comes into the earth. There's water that goes out of the earth constantly. There's that circulation that's constantly going, not only in the earth, but coming from the atmosphere into earth and then returning back into the atmosphere. So that cycle and that circle is constantly going. Somebody said, and I think Dr. Emoto in his book, in the epilogue, he says, if we stopped and think about it, it could really be like the earth with its ability to filter water, to receive it in and then send it back out. The earth could have been nothing less than the kidneys or the liver of the universe, if you can follow that train of thought. It unlocks the consciousness required to understand the proper order of the universe and our role in it. And I believe that our role in it is always screaming, we've got to flow. Water is the mirror of the soul. It has many faces formed by aligning itself with the consciousness of human beings. I'm going to speed it up a little bit because I want to, this is a recap. Now, when we get to what gives ability to reflect what's in people's souls, existence is vibration. We touched on that. The entire universe is in a state of vibration at all times. I'm going to touch on that in a video here in just a second. Each thing generates its own frequency, which is unique. You have your own unique frequency. Quantum mechanics holds that all substance is nothing more than vibrations. It's broken down into the smallest particles of particles and waves. Into the smallest parts, particles and waves. Now, I want to talk about that for just a second. And I want to deal with this idea of it being broken down into particles and waves. And I know, for some, this may be kind of hard to grasp. I'm going to say this as I said too, and I want to go out and grab something and put this up for you. I want to say this from the standpoint of, like I used to tell my students when I taught ACT and SAT prep, I'm going to put some premises and ideas out here. And for some that you may have struggled with science, I'm just that person. I'm my father's child for sure. He was a science lover and I am too. I want you to not get caught up and bogged down with terminologies. I don't want you to get caught up with ideas that you are struggling with. As I say to them, if there's a word on there that you don't understand, instead of being intimidated by that word, just if it starts with the letter E, just call it the E word. Get the concept and don't get bogged down in, specifics of how it's presented. So with this, I want to come and I want to share just some brief videos, if I can find them now. I want you to understand understand, and I may just talk it through if I can't put my hands on it quick, fast, and in a hurry. The ideas of what is, when we talk about the center of vibration, what is it that they're really saying? Well, everything is made of atoms, and those atoms are constantly moving. Those atoms are constantly in motion. If you talk about water, a molecule of water, we know, is made up of 2 molecules of hydrogen and 1 molecule of oxygen, H2O. You know, and those atoms are constantly moving. And so as we understand from that premise that those molecules of water, or molecules of anything, all molecules are made up of atoms. Atoms being, now let's, and this is, if I can find this, okay, I think I did. If we understand those molecules are made up of atoms. Now, we used to say that atoms are the smallest particles that exist. That's no longer true. So as science is constantly growing and progressing, please allow your understanding of science to grow and progress as well. We got the ability to break the atom. Even when we start talking about the atomic bomb, they found a way to split the atom. Then we begin to say the next size and the next particle or part of the atom was a quark, a Q-U-A-R-K, a quark. I want to stop just for a moment, and I'm going to share something about both how atoms are in this world, and I also want to stop and talk about molecules of water, because that's one of the things that we're sharing at this particular point in time. Again, don't get hung up and don't be stymied by
Atoms are ridiculous.
Whether or not you understand certain words and terminology. I want you to get the concept. I want you to conceptually understand what it is that we're talking about here. And so don't get stuck. And I want to say that once more and again, I do not want you to hear the conversation that's going on here and then, time yourself out and just zone out somewhere because, I wasn't good in science when I was in high school. I sure know I'm not going to understand it now. Number one, you're in a different space. You're in a different place. Never underestimate the power of you to do and be everything that you are in this space, in this place. You're not that same person anymore. And some of you all who counted yourselves out back then, really, you were genius back then. It just was not being presented to you in a way that you could really embrace it and comprehend it. So there's nothing wrong with your mind, but if you start getting hung up, just go ahead and again, make it the E word, make it this and that and the other, but it's the concept that we're after here. And here we go.
And unbelievably small. A single human hair is about as thick as 500,000 carbon atoms stacked over each other. Look at your fist. It contains trillions and trillions of atoms. If one atom in it were about as big as a marble, how big would your fist be? Well, about the size of Earth. Still hard to imagine? Let's try something different. Look at your little finger. Imagine that its tip is as big as the room you're sitting in right now. Now, fill the room with grains of rice. One rice corn represents one cell of your fingertip. Now let's zoom in on the rice corn. And now, one cell is as big as the room you're in right now. Let's fill it with rice again. This is about the size of a protein. And now, let us fill all the empty spaces between the rice corns with fine grains of sand. This is roughly how small atoms are. What is an atom made of? Let us just pretend that atoms look like this for a minute to make it easier to understand. An atom consists of 3 elementary particles: neutrons, protons, and electrons. Protons and neutrons bind together and form the atom core, held together by the strong interaction, one of the 4 fundamental forces in the universe. They are made from quarks and held together by gluons. Nobody knows exactly how small quarks are. We think they might literally be points, like in geometry. Try to imagine them as...
Okay, so you can't see the visual.
Okay.
Are you all unable to see the visual? And it may be no visual for those that are not in the course. No visual. Okay. Let me see. You can see it. Okay, so this is going to be the thing. There's not going to be a visual in Twitch, and on the other platforms, you'll have to be in the class to actually see what the class is seeing. And I don't have the ability to make that jump, that leap right there. So my apologies for that. But again, those that are in the course can actually see it. Can you all hear it? Can you all hear it in Twitch and in the other platforms? Can you hear it? Anybody respond back to me? Okay, you can hear it. Okay, so my apologies here. You'll have to be able to listen if you're not in the class, but the class is able to see it. Okay, good. Okay, so let me come back here. Okay, and we'll continue for the class.
Being zero-dimensional. We suspect that quarks and electrons are the most fundamental components of matter in the universe. Electrons orbit the atom core. They travel at a speed of about 2,200 kilometers per second, fast enough to get around the Earth in just over 18 seconds. Like quarks, we think electrons are fundamental particles. 99.99999999999% of an atom's volume is just empty space, except that it isn't. What we perceive as emptiness is actually a space filled by quantum fluctuations, fields that have potential energy and build and dissolve spontaneously. These fluctuations have a fundamental impact on how charged particles interact, but that's a topic for another video. How much space do the core and electrons actually fill? If you were to subtract all the spaces between the atom cores from the Empire State Building, it would be about as big as a rice corn. All the atoms of humanity would fit in a teaspoon. There are extreme objects where states like this actually exist. In a neutron star, atom cores are compacted so densely that the mass of 3 suns fits into an object only a few kilometers wide. By the way, what do atoms look like? Well, kind of like this. Electrons are like a wave function and a particle at the same time. We can calculate where an electron might be at any given moment in time. These clouds of probability, called orbitals, are where electrons might be with a certainty of 95%. The probability of finding an electron approaches 0 the further we get away from the atom core. But it actually never is 0, which means that, in theory, the electron of an atom could be on the other side of the universe. Okay, wait a second. These strange thingies make up all the matter in the universe. For many dozens of known elements, you don't need many dozens of elementary particles, just 3. Take 1 proton and 1 electron, and you have hydrogen. Add a proton and a neutron, you have helium. Add a few more, you get carbon. A few more, fluorine, even more, gold. And so on. And every atom of an element is the same. All hydrogen atoms in the universe, for example, are the same. The hydrogen in your body is exactly the same as the hydrogen in the sun. Do you feel confused right now? We certainly do. Nothing on this scale of the universe makes any sense in our world, and we've not even begun talking about quantum mechanics or the particle zoo, which are even stranger. Our model of atoms has changed a number of times since we first conceived it, and the current one will certainly not be the last. So let us support scientists and research and wait for the next wave of mind-boggling new information about this strange world that is the basis for our existence.
So I hope that you all can get the takeaway here. If you understand, he said you could fit all the atoms of all humanity in a teaspoon. You can fit all humanity on the earth into a teaspoon if you took the atoms, just the atoms. So the reason why I wanted you all to see this, when we start talking about how the earth is just one big mass of parts and vibrations, because they're constantly moving. So when we think about, again, the idea that what you can see, you really can't see, and what you can't see is really there. They're going to say something to that effect a little bit later on. And I wanted to kind of get that visual in there for you so you could understand the ideas of what we're saying. That table that you're sitting in front of is moving. It's vibrating right now. Your mouse, your computer, everything in this universe that we can see is vibrating. I want to bring that to the point of your mind and the top of your mind so that you can understand then why when we start talking about frequency, when we start talking about being fluid, when we start talking about all these different concepts that we're taking directly from science, how all of this works, so that we can undam our minds. We can, because we think, we operate everything in this solid. But I want you to understand that really the essence of everything that's going on really comes from this idea of the vibration. Everything in existence is a vibration. Everything in existence are those atoms and those molecules, or let's go from the size that we went, quarks to atoms to molecules. I'm working my way up, the smallest being a quark, then go to the atom, and then go to a molecule. Everything is made from that, and it's constantly moving. If you didn't pick up anything else from what was going on there, I hope that you were able to understand that whatever protons are going on inside, there has to be an equal balance of electrons going on outside in the valence. So if you understand, there is the balance that is so perfectly orchestrated. And I mean, this is just amazing how creation is put together. And this is why when we are dammed up and we're not fluid, this is why when we really do not begin to come into a place of allowing ourselves to really flow, and we get in a position of, again, when circulation stops, when it stops circulating, it's dead. When it stops circulating, it becomes contaminated. When it stops circulating, you get the same thing as what he got in these crystals, and that is something that is so messed up and jacked up, and you're able again to see the manifestation of that from what he did in looking at these crystals. So that is for those that don't have the book, and to kind of bring you up to speed to where we are. That is kind of the correlation that I want you to get. Can you see where I say what gives ability to reflect what's in people's souls? Can you all see that? Those that are in the class, can you see that screen? What gives ability to reflect what's in people's souls? Talk to me and tell me if you can see this screen.
Yes, I can
Awesome.
see it.
Thank you. So each thing generates its own frequency. And how does it do that? Because of the vibration. The vibration operates at a certain frequency, and that frequency is unique. Quantum mechanics holds that all substance is nothing more than a moving vibration, and we break it down into the parts, which is what we did. Now, everything is nothing more than atoms, each atom being a nucleus with electrons rotating around it, and the number and the shape of these atoms gives each substance a particular set of vibrational frequencies. Now, even with that, when he said the same makeup of hydrogen is always going to be one proton, one electron. Always going to be just one. I don't care if you're on planet Earth, it's going to be one proton, it's going to be one electron. And again, you see the balance is there. Whatever the protons are, the electrons have to balance that. So everything is constantly in that state of equalization or balance or equilibrium. It stays in that same space, and the electrons are outside floating around, but there's a magnetism. It's almost like a magnet that keeps it holding together one to the other, so that you have the ability to make that atom with one proton and one electron. Again, so if we understand this idea, the balance that comes along with that, then we understand the number and shape of these atoms give each substance a particular vibrational frequency. It's going to always be the same no matter where it is. Whatever the substance, nothing is solid. These are some concepts I'm trying to get you. Mindsets, that might be my new word. These are some concepts I want you to get into your mind. Nothing is actually solid. Everything is vibrating. Nucleus surrounded by an endless rotating wave. That's exactly what you're seeing. Everything is eternally moving and vibrating at an incredible speed. So this right here, I want you all to get. The Buddhist said it this way. He said, that which can be seen has no form. Think about that. It has no form. Why? Because what you're seeing is actually constantly moving, but you don't see that movement. You don't see those atoms. You don't see all of that that's making up really what you're calling what you see. So he said this all the way back centuries ago. That which can be seen has no form, and that which cannot be seen has form. Meaning basically he's addressing the fact that what really is are those atoms and molecules, not what you see. That's what really has form. And what you are calling yourself seeing really has no form because it is not solid. So quantum mechanics has just done nothing but come along centuries later after the Buddhists said this and basically proven that this is the case. It's a strange contradiction spoken ages ago by the Buddha, and our eyes can see the objects, but we cannot see the vibrations. And that's really what we're addressing here. So we talked about the two people coming in the room and then the third person coming in. And when that third person comes in, you can feel if they have, I'll say bad juju, as some of us would call it, if they have bad energy or just different or off energy, without even coming in the room, you can experience where the room is changed environmentally just by that person being introduced into that space. Why? Because they have a frequency. They have an energy. I like to talk about it sometimes from this standpoint, and I think most of you can probably identify with this. Have you ever been sitting or walking or standing someplace across the room and you feel somebody looking at you? You just feel somebody looking at you, and you turn around and you make eye contact with this person who is staring at you. How were you able to pick that up? Frequencies, energies are able to identify and relate to. And even if we go back to the concept of what he's saying here, the hidden messages in water, I would even go so far as to propose the water in you picks up the energy and the water in that other person, and those waters start communicating one with the other, which gives you the understanding and the sense of feeling. You pick up that vibration. I feel somebody looking at me. I don't have to see somebody looking at me. I feel somebody looking at me. You can come in a room and somebody that's got creepy energy and the hairs on the back of your head start standing up. The hairs on your arms, the hairs on your legs. Your body, your hairs are responding to the frequency and the energy that's being sent out. So this is the example of what we're trying to say. It goes so far above and beyond just what you can see. All of your senses are alive to energy. And that's why I really, really have an issue with people that are, listen, we walk by faith and not by sight. Turn all your senses off. Don't turn all your senses off. Your senses are given to you so that you can discern what's going on in an environment. And I would purport that really when people are oblivious to what's going on, it's because some of those senses have been turned off. Even like y'all told them to do, they've turned those senses off. And so from that perspective, they're unable to perceive what's actually going on in the room. I'm saying turn the senses on so you can pick up all the frequencies, the waves, and everything else that are going on so that you can get the message, the hidden message in water that's coming to you so you can understand and comprehend the signs, the times, and the seasons and the reasons. By discernment is really just a matter of letting your water begin to pick up the messages that the universe is sending to you. So that concept we talked about, again, even the idea for those that come from the Christian tradition, the understanding that when Mary met Elizabeth and the baby jumped in the womb and started leaping, and that's the hidden messages of water identifying one to the other and beginning to have communication. Human beings are constantly vibrating. So when you hear people say vibrate high, we're really talking about an idea and a concept that, listen, don't just come in at this level right here. Whatever your frequency, vibrate high at that frequency. All of us have the sensory skills to feel the vibrations of others. A person experiencing a great sadness will emit sadness frequencies. You emit a corresponding frequency, just like I said, that proton and that electron, they correlate one to the other. If I've got one proton, I know I've got one electron. If I've got 10 protons, I know I've got 10 electrons. So there is that correlation that is there, and you emit that corresponding frequency to what you're feeling. Objects and locations operate by that same principle. It's not just you, but again, because everything that exists in this world is made up of atoms and is made up and of quarks, whatever degree you want to break it down to, and it is vibrating. The whole earth and all existence is vibrating. I'm gonna deal with this last slide, and I'm gonna let you go. Changes in energy can produce lightning and storms. Changes in energy can produce lightnings and storms. Intense energy can result in natural disasters. Now, I talk about this in a poem that I wrote called Energy. And this is my change of energy and my thoughts about energy, because when I share with you all, there was a season in time when at my frequency, I was vibrating low. In that low vibrational state, I was constantly depressed and suicidal. Now, I began to look at all of the, if you will, the lightning and the storms that were in my life. I looked at all the intense energy that came from those storms in my life, and I was vibrating low. And so that low vibrational area that I insisted on frequenting, because listen, frequency is just about what you do the most. That's your frequency. What you think about the most, that's your frequency. What you talk about the most, what you feel, that's your frequency. So my frequency was vibrating extremely low, but one day it came to me. And I promise you, this is the way it came to me when I sat down and wrote this poem. I said, you know what, energy, it's all energy. And I began to think about that thing. And I was like, okay, so instead of looking at that energy and coming from a place of low vibrational frequency, I can shift that same energy and now shift that to a high level of frequency, that same energy. And what I saw in the storm and the winds, instead of seeing it as beating me down and holding me back, I now saw it like I can mount up with the wings of an eagle, and it's all about my altitude. If I lift myself to a higher altitude, just like an eagle or a bird, to be able to get above the wind and the storm, but allow the energy that storm produces to allow me to stop working. I don't even need to flap. The eagle doesn't even have to flap. I just spread my wings and fly. When I begin to think about it from that perspective, and instead of taking all of that monstrosity, all of that serious energy, all of that intense energy, I saw it as a monstrosity. When I begin to see it as a means of letting me rest, I begin to see it as a means of letting me not have to flap, but just find an altitude where I could rise above that same storm that seemed like it was beating me down in the lower frequencies. When I was able to get and rise above it, I could transform and change that into energy that I could work and use for myself. And there's the alarm right there. I could work and use for myself, so that there's nothing that life brings to me that if I vibrate and if I get to the right altitude, I can allow that energy to make something positive for me. And just as strong as that energy is coming from that storm, I can allow that to lift me and take me and allow me to soar. If you can just spread your wings and soar. But the issue is the altitude. If you're too low, that rain, that wind, it's going to beat you down. If you're too low, You've got to shift your altitude. You've got to shift your mind. You've got to shift your mindset. You've got to take that energy and transform it from a disaster and a destruction area, from a monstrosity and a monsoon, a hurricane, a tsunami that's come in to destroy me. No, no, no. This is energy at super proportions that God is saying, okay, I'm giving this to you. Use it in the right way. Think about it in the right way. Get to the right altitude in your energy and your frequency. And this that before you felt like was a total bust in your world, you can take that same energy and make it a total success. And from that, I'm going to say, as Fairly All Day likes to say very frequently when she's talking and when she's praying, God wastes nothing. God wastes nothing. So if you look at the intense energy that's created even out of a storm and a natural disaster, it's energy. You can use that if you use your mind in the right way. Even if I take that to the monetary and financial arena, where so many people look at natural disasters and say, oh, this has just totally devastated all of us. We're just devastated. We just cannot. Somebody that has a different perspective is saying this is an opportunity. And they take that opportunity and they do so many things with that, and especially in the way. And I know some people say, oh, they were opportunistic and they took advantage of this, that, and the other. Well, at the end of the day, if we needed this, that, and the other, and instead of being in a place of gloom and doom, and they provided this, that, and the other, why should we be mad? Because guess what? You had the same opportunity. You had the same energy to make this, that, and the other. But rather than to make this, that, and the other, you determine, oh my God, I'm just going to lay here and wallow in this disaster. So again, it's about how you perceive what that energy is providing to you, because it's all energy. Everything is vibrating. Everything has got a frequency. How are you using it becomes the question. When people gather, great energies are created. And that's the thing I want us to really focus on and concentrate. This energy will likewise be determined by mood, your energy of the people. Now, I'm going to stop because my time for you all to reclaim the text has come. I want to share one last thing. And listen, when I tell you SK8843, it's her birthday, but she's been vibrating all week. I want to pull out some things that she said. I'm going to go, and all of this is in resources. If you're in my Discord, even for those of you that didn't see the visual, if you go to my Discord, join my Discord channel. And that goes with, you don't have to be in the class to join my Discord channel. Go to my Discord channel and look under resources, and you'll see this information that I'm giving you today. Now, I want to come here because SK8843 said something, and I mean, she just blessed me. And again, when you start talking about putting energy together, and you can make great changes if you put the energy and the resources together. I want to say two things that she said. The first was she took a quote from Dr. Emoto, interpretation of Einstein's formula of E equals MC squared. This is her taking from Dr. Emoto's, the interpretation of Einstein's formula. And I'm going to say this and I'm going to get out of here. E equals MC squared, where C is consciousness. We got to raise the consciousness of the people. Raise the consciousness of the people. M is for mass, or the number of people that this is shared with intention. And this is why I often say this pride, Pride, this pride alliance is relentless. You're going to hear us roar, us, you, me, we all. We're talking about mass. We've got to get it to a place of mass or numbers where people with shared intention are coming together with this consciousness. And E is exponential increase in energy. When we come together and we all begin to undam ourselves and we all begin to understand the vibration and the flow and the frequency, when we all begin to operate in higher frequencies and come out of the lower frequencies, when we all learn how to take the energy, even from a massive storm, and turn that into a positive energy, when we begin to do all of that, we get E equals MC squared. And listen, we are talking about just sheer energy. sheer energy that can transform and change this whole world. Now, today may have got a little bit on the scientific side, but I hope you were still able to pull some nuggets out of it. I'm gonna come back in and I want to come back in and just I appreciate whoever that somebody in Facebook just liked the stream. I appreciate you. I'm going to come back into the Institute and I'm going to see what all you are saying out here. But listen, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I got through one slide today, a recap in one slide, but that's okay. I hope that if you did not understand the concept that was being set forth, and I do have another video out there that explains the water molecule all by itself. I didn't play that today because I wanted to keep going. Well, we may cover it at a later point in time, but it's out there in Discord under resources. You can go out there and see it. With that being said, I'm going to relinquish my time and I'm going to give each and every one of you, I'm gonna look at your the comments that you were making. I still don't have my screen set up where I can actually see everything the way I want to see it. So I'm having to kind of do things segment by segment, but I want to see what all you all said in the comments as we were going along. Unmute yourselves. You know how we do it. And those that are in Twitch, if you're in Facebook, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on any of the other platforms, YouTube, go ahead and jump in and type your questions in and hopefully they will get to me in time. But those of you in Discord class, please unmute yourselves and go ahead and talk to me. I see where SK said, release the heaviness. Come on, come on. Release the heaviness. Release the heaviness. Self-calibration. Tall Pumps, do you want to talk some more on that? Self-calibration. You can use this power, energy, to propel me upwards and forwards. And this is where I want you all to start changing your mindsets. Oh my God. The whole thing of Institute for Higher Consciousness is to help us walk in our boss energy. When I talk about, even Kai Chick came in with a praise report before we even got class started this morning. She was in the midst of a storm, but in the midst of the storm, she took that boss energy and vibrated higher. So SK8843, you can use the power of energy to propel you upward and forward. Do you want to go upward and forward, or do you want to stay downward and backward? It's a choice. It's an option, but you have the ability to use that energy. Please understand it. And that's what when we talk about boss energy, so many things about boss energy are all revolving around what choices do you make? What decisions do you hold for yourselves? How do you want to utilize that? Do you want to wallow in the mud and say, oh my God, the storm came through and tore up my house? Or do you just go build another house? Do you get the resources and understand, okay, I can take this and I can do something different with it. I can take this energy and build and have and see what I want to be. You have the ability to do that. So thank you for that, SK8843. Coming on down, and Susan said, atoms are the building blocks. The building blocks matter. When atoms combine with other atoms, come on, that's how we get molecules. And come on with that, Susan. When we combine atoms with other atoms. So when I look at this, I look and I say, okay, so I can take the ability to bind myself with, I can put anybody's name in here. I can combine myself with your energy and make a molecule. And that molecule has power. That molecule has energy. That molecule can become a building block for something else. I can take this and begin to put this atom with that atom and another atom. So I like that idea, Susan, of identifying the ability to take those atoms and combine those atoms together. What do when we talk about water, again, I'm going to say it, whether it's here on Earth or it's water on some other planet, water out there in the stratosphere, it's still H2O. It's going to be two hydrogens with one oxygen. It's going to always be that molecule. It's going to always be the same molecule. H2O, you're going to have two hydrogens and one oxygen. Always, always, always. But at the end of the day, when you keep adding different atoms and combining them with other atoms, you can make new molecules. So even when we're talking about changing the world right now, Why and how can we change the world right now? Because we can take our atoms and put them with other atoms and make new molecules. We are not stuck in the current existence. If we bind and come together and we get E equals MC squared, we can actually begin to change the world. And that's what we're proposing right now. Thank you for that, Susan. I appreciate that. Protons are positive. Thank you. Neutrons have no charge and electrons are negatively charged. I appreciate you for bringing that in. The important thing about an atom is how many protons are in the nucleus. Thank you for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, I hope you all didn't get stumped and stopped because it got a little bit scientific, but I want you to understand the dynamics of how all of this works together versus just having conversation about something and just talking in a broad sense. I want you to understand the concept. Where are we getting this information from and how does it all fit together? Now, that being said, I'm gonna shut up. I think I've read all the comments that I see over here. I see that Twitch has been fairly quiet this morning. You all are real quiet this morning, and that's okay. I saw a few comments of yes, and the idea, I saw BTD Mom, when you put that up, you could take all of humanity's atoms, all of the human beings on the face of this earth, put it in a teaspoon, and we could all fit our atoms in a teaspoon. That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing and astonishing. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you. I see you. 713. Thank you for coming in. Anybody else? Balance and perfect flow. I love that, SK. And that's the thing about, if we look at nature, nature is always balanced. The problem becomes when humanity throws it out of balance. That's where the problems come. And that balance creates a perfect flow. And that's what we're going for. Thank you for that, SK. Kai Chick, I see you typing. Let's see, somebody's unmuted. Two Tams, go ahead.
Today I take from this release the heaviness. Man, that just was like a firecracker going off in my soul, because I cannot soar. I cannot propel upward and forward clinging on to heaviness. So I just really thank you for that powerful word, SK, and the use of, I can use my, when I let go of this heaviness, I can use my powerful energy to propel forward and upward. And I had a conversation with my younger brother last night about the very thing of, we are so tired of negative energy, we're just done. And we refuse to accept that because it keeps us bogged down with all that heaviness. So I was so glad that he was sharing with me. I'm ready to change my energy level. That just blessed me. Thank you for the teaching. Have a great day.
That's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. And yes, once you start vibrating high, the negative energy from lower frequencies, it's just like the two, you're talking about two totally different frequencies. And so there's that repelling away from places that we used to be, people that we used to engage with. A lot of that begins to shift when you start vibrating. And this is the thing I want you all to understand. It's really your frequency and has been your frequency all along. This has really been you the whole time. But now that you're coming into the awareness of it, you can vibrate at your correct frequency. Get it on the, it's almost like y'all, some of you all that might be my age, the radios where you had to roll the dial around to get it on the frequency. And you could tell you were getting closer and closer, but there was still a lot of static and you just kept turning it, and the less you'd have less and less and less static. But you knew you were on when the static was gone. That's where many of us are right now in our journey, where we're like dialing into our frequency. And as we dial into that frequency, less and less chatter, less and less static, less and less negativity out there. It starts dropping off and you begin to become more laser focused. And then you can hear clearly, you can see clearly, you can sense clearly. You're just tuning in on your channel. I love that. And that's exactly what's going on with you two Tams. You guys are tuning into your channel, so all that static is being dialed right out of your lives. I love it. I love it. I love it. Sassy Cassie, I see you unmuted. Go right ahead, sis.
Yes. Good morning, STL and everyone. I am just elated to be in the midst and I've never considered myself a real science student, but it's amazing to me how as uh, I'm learning some scientific things and it's helping me to release and to understand myself more spiritually. And like you said, it's a constant flow. And I am learning how important my vibrations, my flow, and my frequencies are to myself and everybody around me because it reminded me of a song that says, people make the world go round. It can go round, it can
Come
go
on.
down, but you gotta have the right frequencies.
Come on.
You gotta stay in balance. And I'm learning so much, and I can't wait to just shine and flow and do all the things that God created me to do. And I thank you.
Oh, listen, I thank you. Listen, the folks out there say you better sing. I love it. I love it. I love it. And thank you for that. And you are so true. You are so right in that. I'm looking and someone said something that I wanted to in Twitch. Someone said something about the vibrating in love. Come on. Once you vibrate on the love frequency, it's just all magic. 713. Once you vibrate on that love frequency, it's just all magic. Come through with that. Come through with that. Love it. Love it. Love it. I'm looking around. Kai Chick, I see you unmuted.
Yes, I just want, again, thank you so much for what I have learned today and keeping up with the science. I'm still processing, but just removing the static. And there were other comments about being able to go upward and propel forward. As you well know about my job situation, but as soon as I got back where I need to be, it seemed like the whole office got balanced again. And those were words from my other coworkers, not me.
Wow.
And it was we just in time for a project someone needed help on because I knew more about student records and everything. And she was so thankful. She said we would not have gotten this done in one day if I was still separated in the other area. So, and I just felt a lightness just lifted, and I was like able to flow and able to get something done in one day, which would have taken me or the other coworker a lot longer. So
Yes.
sometimes when you remove the static of, I would say, someone else, it helps you, but it helps you able to help others because the static was removed, the heaviness was lifted, and I was able to float. I was undammed.
Come on. Come on. I love it. And you know, Kai Chick, I always say this, and I don't say this just to be saying and speaking words or flattery. You have to be one of the poster children of boss energy because I mean, you came in and you latched onto this lock, stock, and barrel, and you've been walking it, talking it, and manifesting. And that's the thing, y'all. I want y'all to manifest. And even this that has manifested for you. And I don't find it interesting that your coworker just out of the blue began to talk about how you coming back into your place of your frequency brought the whole entire office into a balance. And that I want to piggyback on that and just kind of talk about it. Sometimes when you're in areas where you are in the throes of a challenge against your boss energy and the whole environment is off because I know once the things that happen, it threw everything out of kilter. But that reality that sometimes I want you all to latch onto this idea. You may be the change of energy that the office needs to make that shift, or the family needs to make that shift, or whatever it is that needs to make that shift. Do not underestimate your power when you're operating on your frequency. Hear me. Do not underestimate your power when you're operating on your frequency. And that has the ability to change so many things in the environment. Just your presence, just your mere presence, your energy has so much ability to change everything that's going on in that environment. And that's exactly what we've seen here, Kai Chick. And I just, listen, I love you and I applaud you. And you stood strong, you stood hard, you stood tall in your boss energy and would not relent. This Pride Alliance is relentless. You're going to hear us roar. And you just kept on roaring. And so am I surprised? No, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by the change in your office. I'm not surprised by your coworker talking and addressing the balance, coming back in to the space. Come on, Shelly Thunder. We talking about boss energy. This is what I'm talking about, boss energy. When you change the atmosphere just by being in it, baby, you got boss energy. That's I'm trying to tell you. So there you go.
No, spiritual thought leader. I know I've said this many times how your ministry changes lives, and it changed my life because I allowed fear to interrupt my flow for so many years. And I think I would still be operating in fear had I not come across your ministry. And I just want to thank you so much because I am no longer living in fear. I still have some work to do, but I am breaking down barriers because I allowed fear to hold me back. And you helped me unlock my boss energy.
Come through, sis. Thank you for that. And I appreciate it. But listen, all I can say to you, it was in you all along. It was in you all along. And you took this bull by the horns and you took this ball and ran with it. You did the work. I can share concepts, ideas, teachings, and philosophies, but at the end of the day, you did the work. And so I want to say kudos to you for doing the work. And you've made all the difference in your own world as well as many others. Your testimonies are constantly benefiting the people because I tell you, you have walked this thing and walked it out from beginning to the present. And it's been nothing but a constant manifestation of boss energy. I appreciate you, sis. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you and Alliance as well. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yoshi's son is raiding with 14 viewers. Come on in, Yoshi son. So much love to you all. I'm gonna let my moderators are gonna handle the raid for me, if you would please. Again, welcome, Yoshi son. Thank you for the raid coming in. You have raided into what is actually a class of Institute for Higher Consciousness, which we open up once a month to anybody, and we appreciate you raiding in. I want to say once more and again, thank you for that raid. I see you, Angry Andy, all of the 14 that came in with Yoshi Sun 77. I will say this for those that are on Twitch, Yoshi Sun 77 is a streamer. If you're not following them, quit your wicked ways and go out there and follow Yoshi's son 77. Now y'all know we in class, but I had to throw that one in because the babies came in, and I appreciate the raid. Thank you so much for coming in. And the first Saturday of every month, we have an open class, and you just happen to come in on our open class this week. Thank you so much for coming, and I hope you enjoy being here and what is being shared here. Mad love, and thank you for the raid. Now, anyone else that wants to unmute yourself in the Institute, go ahead and talk to me. Anybody else in the Institute that wants to go ahead and talk to me, just go ahead and unmute yourself, and I'd love to hear what you have to share. You're very welcome, Yoshi-san. You're very, very welcome. So much love to you. Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay, anybody that wants to say anything in the Twitch chat, please feel free to do so. And I know for my friends that are in Facebook and especially YouTube, it takes a long time for your chat to get to me. So if you've commented and I haven't seen it, I will come after the class is over and take a look at what you all commented in those platforms, because it does take a long time for your communications to get here to me in the classroom. So with that being said, we're at 10:04. You know, classes always ended by 10:15, so I may be able to give you some time back here. The building blocks. Find other what do I think? Okay. So at the end of the day, I want us to find those that we can bind ourselves to. And we can talk about valence and covalence and all of that. I won't get really out there, but the exchange of being able to allow things in and out of the cell. We have the ability to connect with others. We have the ability to do a lot of things. If you want to go back and look at the video again, it is in my Discord channel. You can see the video on atoms. There's also the video, and I would invite you to go ahead and look at it ahead of time, because that way I can cover it again. You're very welcome, 713. I'm so glad that you came through. I appreciate you. I really do. And I'm glad that the teaching was beneficial to you. So much mad love to you. And that's the goal. We're really trying to get everybody to a place of boss energy and operating in it, not just sometimes, but all the time. Make this your way of life. Make this your way of existence. Pay attention to how what frequency are you on and how you're vibrating. Everything in this world is vibrations. So be very sure and clear on how you vibrate. With that being said, and nobody else saying anything to me, nobody else is coming off of mute over here. Y'all real quiet. I'm gonna get ready to let you go. The time is 10:06, so we're gonna give you a few minutes back. Thank you. Yoshi son, once more and again, thank you for coming into the class. You're welcome, Twana's Twitch. Good to see you. She is a streamer. I will stop and say that. If you're not following Twana's Twitch, quit chewing away. One reason the Bishop of Twitch is in here. Thank you for being here. Quit chewing away. If you're not following these individuals, they're going to bless your whole life. There's so much good to come from us binding together. As Fairly All Day said, Susan shared, atoms are the building blocks. They can combine and bind together with other atoms to make molecules. That's what we're striving to do even in this hour. We're binding ourselves together. We do not raid on Saturdays, exactly. So everyone have a great day. I see you. Oh, the Rebel Inc. God forbid that I don't say something about, thank you, Shelly Thunder. The Rebel Inc. is a streamer. If you're not following the Rebel Inc., quit chewing away, because listen, she's the newest partner that we know on Twitch, and we love her so much. If you're not following the Rebel Inc., please go out there and follow her. She will bless your whole life. I want everybody to have a wonderful day, because yes, we can do a video on demand and we'll put it up for you. The class, again, we're talking about The Hidden Mysteries of Water by Dr. Emoto, and it's a powerful book. We're doing that in conjunction with the idea that we are living water, we are undamned, and I'm gonna say it again as we get ready to get out here. Until you get undamned, you will be damned. I love y'all. Have a great day.